How can I share that I'm polyamorous with my friends and family?
You want to go first?
Question. Do
you want to go?
You should
want me to? Yeah, you go. You go first.
Ad in the newspaper, right? Get an ad in the newspaper. Make sure it's delivered to all of their doors, front page, right? I'm a hoe who has lots of sex. No, I think that it's tough for me to answer this question because, like, I don't know what your relationships are like with those people. Like, I don't know what your relationships are like with your friends and family. For me, the process of coming out to people who are my friends is very different than it was talking to my family about it, because my family, I'm a classic queer. I have weird, messy family. And so talking to my family about my non-monogamy was very, very challenging, and something that I had to figure out, like, how much of that I actually wanted to share with them and how much of that I wanted to invite them into versus how much I wanted to keep for myself because it wasn't something that they needed to know about necessarily. Not because it was a secret, but because, like, I don't tell them who I'm dating unless it's going to be something that's going to potentially interact with their lives, because that's not, there's no reason to go through that, right?
Yeah.
And I think that, my family means well. My mother in particular, I think, experiences herself as, like, loving me very hard and has some difficulty sometimes piecing apart what she wants and needs and what I want and need. And so, like, trying to tell her about these things led to a lot of very challenging conversations that, like, I'm glad we had, and also we're not particularly pleasant. And so, like, I think that the first thing I ask people to think about when they want to know about coming out is, like, who do you want to come out to and why? In what places do you want to not be out and why? Like, I think that it's about figuring out for you, what is that balance? Start with people who are the most likely to be supportive and easy, because that way you get some good momentum rolling.
Yeah.
And with the people who you think are going to be a challenge, like, really ask yourself, how much do they need to know? Like, does everyone I work with need to know I'm polyamorous? Probably not, right? Does my grandparent need to know I don't have any living grandparents, but theoretically, does my grandparent need to know I'm polyamorous? I don't know. Are you going to bring more than one partner to the potluck? Like, up to you, right? And so I think it's about figuring out for you how much transparency feels like it's in alignment for you, how much privacy feels like it's important for you.
I 100% agree with everything that you said. And even though this is a fairly direct question, it is an incredibly intense question. It's interesting in my journey, non-monogamy is not new. And it's just interesting that, I mean, there's even if we're talking especially sort of like the traditionally cishet normative crowd, we can think back to post-World War II, when a lot of people were getting married and their soldiers were going off and they were gone for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years.
You may not hear from them for months at all.
Yes. And so there was almost like, there was a whole movement of swinging during World War II. There was a whole movement of swinging in the 60s and 70s.
Yes.
And it's so funny, like I'll have a client, that's in the, like, in their 60s or 70s, and they come in and I learn so much from them. It's just not the young folks that are doing it too. There are quite a lot of clients that Isla and I have worked with that have kids.
Yep.
And I think if you're a professional in this society, in this day and age, and you have kids, especially if your kids are coming up in more conservative communities, it's actually like a safety issue for some people, and it can be really tense, So I agree with you. Like, if you're sharing this information, it really depends on who you are and how you want to be. When we had our launch party, we met a young man who was, I think, in his early 30s and had always felt non-monogamous since he was a kid. I remember him saying, when I was a little kid and I was watching, like, all my superheroes, I thought how great it's going to be when I grow up because I can love all of them, and was sort of inculcated to cishet normative ways of thinking about relationship, and always felt sort of like ashamed, and then sort of came out loud and proud at 30 and, goes to all the family functions and is like, I'm non-monogamous. Do you want to ask me questions about it? And, so I think for some people, it is so liberating and they really don't care who knows. And for other people, it's not like that.
Yeah.
And so it is interesting. It really depends on the person. And sometimes couples, if they were, sort of traditionally in a monogamous situation and they're deciding to experiment, that's one of the reasons why we put that question in in the foundation's deck, is because, you're thinking about all of these aspects, but if you're new to it, you really don't know all of the things that could possibly come up. And it's just good to have conversations about them. We recently had a polycule that brought their new partner back east for family holidays. And when in therapy, we talked a lot about it, and it was their choice that they decided that they were going to bring the new partner, but they were going to bring the partner under the guise of friendship. And it was like some of the older relatives didn't really have anything to say about it. They thought that was just really kind. And also other relatives, cousins and things like that, brought them in and brought them aside and sort of asked them more pointed questions. And then they said it was a really healing thing, actually, with some of their relatives. They came out to them. I'm seeing hearts come
Yeah.
up and fire come up. Yeah, 'cause oh, I got goosebumps. Yeah, so it can be really scary sometimes to, there's so many misconceptions about what it is. A lot of people still think it's like not any different than polyandry or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
are you trying to marry people? Like, they think maybe you're doing something illegal. I mean, a lot of people just have a lot of misinformation. It's a tender question.
Tough question. And I think too that the thing about coming out is that one of the things I'll often talk with people about regarding this is like, how much risk are you okay with accepting? Because there's no risk way for you to be non-monogamous across a bunch of different spectra. Like, there's no physically risk-free way, there's no emotionally risk-free way, there's no relationally or socially risk-free way. Because like, if stuff happens, people know each other, like weird random things happen. And so it's about like, how much risk are you okay with accepting and what risk mitigation can you do?
Yeah.
So like for me, I have a relatively stable job in California. I'm relatively economically stable. My parents are economically stable, so I have a safety net if I need it. So if I end up like getting targeted at my job for being publicly polyamorous, I'll be okay. Like, I'll still be licensed as a psychologist. California is a state that's unlikely to remove my license. So like, I have a fair amount of security, even if I end up targeted for that particular identity, in a way that like, I've known psychologists in other states who very realistically were concerned about losing their licenses for being polyamorous, because in some states they have weird morality clauses that have been used to attempt to remove licensure or successfully remove licensure from people who are ethically non-monogamous in a way that everybody's okay with it, but someone at the licensing board or in the state decides that's not okay. And so there's this, the risk is different in different places in your different situations, and you need to understand like, everything you do has risk. You just have to figure out which of those risks you're okay with and what you're going to do to mitigate them.
Well said. I agree.